Welcome to another episode of Grade Pending. I'm your host, as always, Paulie the Bull, no relation to Gravano. Today we got Jared, Otto, Big John, and we're going to talk about the movie that we just all saw, which name I don't want to say, because if you say it a couple
Say
times,
his name.
bad things
Well, there's
happen.
four of us.
So I'm,
Say
so
his
I'm,
name.
I'm going to say it one time, and probably one
John, you're
time
the
only.
lightest person here, bro. Think about who he's gonna go for.
Right. So we all saw Candyman,
I'm the darkest one here.
and we're gonna talk about that movie. Like we always do a grade pending, we got our own grading system. Awesome, which is the top of the top, the cream of the crop, the best of the best. We got dope, which is very good, not perfect, not the bestest, but hey, it's a good show, good piece of entertainment. We got meh, which basically was all right, or watched it once, not trying to watch it no more. And then we got straight trash. I'm never watching it again. It was hot garbage. Get this out my face. Why did I spend money on this? However you feel about it. All right. And to talk about the movie, we got to talk about the movie. So as always, there will be spoilers if you haven't seen it yet. So go see it first if you care. If not, watch us, enjoy us. You know what I'm saying? And here we are. So, we're going to give out one by one reviews on it. And then we'll all come back together and talk about it as a group, as we always do. Y'all know the deal. Y'all seen the shows. You know what it is. You know what it is. So,
So, start off by I was really hyped for the movie when they first announced it. Obviously the Jordan Peele thing got me, just like a lot of people. I was like, all right, well, executive produced, maybe he might have some input. But I went into it. To be honest, I went into it not being a fan of the first one, the original. I watched the original. It was all right, but it wasn't like a great horror classic. I actually prefer number 2 over number 1. But anyway, I started watching it. I like some of the stuff they did with the movie overall, but it wasn't. It seemed more like a drama with some kills in it than an actual horror movie. And I went in, expecting a kind of horror movie kind of thing. And then overall, I don't know. I didn't like that. I'm one of the people that visually, you want to see the horror, you want to see the kills, and a lot of the kills are done off camera to the side. You hear sound effects far away, or the CGI female in the window, in the project window. Well, I'm sorry, because it was a nice building. So in the co-op or condo, you have those far away kills, but it was it was kind of like, I don't know. I wasn't impressed overall. A big part of me for a horror movie is the kills. I did like part of the story. I like the dude who played Candyman. I thought he did a good job try to make it believable. I did like its link to the first movie, making it where he's the baby and stuff like that. That was cool. But overall, I wasn't really impressed. For me, I probably will go with a meh. I probably won't watch it again. I'm gonna buy it because I'm a loser and I love buying and collecting movies anyway. But I was disappointed. I honestly was. I expected a lot more, and with the hype from it, I really thought that it was gonna be something special. And I don't know. I felt like I gotta live without seeing this remake of Candyman.
All right, so Candyman. This was actually one of my most anticipated movies of the year. I was so mad that it kept getting delayed. Unfortunately, I was not impressed. The cinematography was dope. The visuals were great. Yaya did his thing. I'm really happy for him because the movie ended up making money. He's a star. He was the bad guy in Aquaman. He was in Watchmen in a role that I won't spoil. He's the fucking man, and he carried that thing. And again, it was shot well. But besides that, the story was all over the place. I get that they had a message they were going for. I don't know if they were running out of time or they're trying to keep it like 90 minutes or something, because the third act just came out of nowhere, and I felt kind of rushed. I agree with John about the kills. I love horror movies. I enjoy seeing my gore. I get that they wanted more mainstream appeal, so that's why they did some of the off-camera kills or the wide-angle shots where you don't really see anything. But it just didn't work for me. It was instantly forgettable to me. And like John, I will be buying the 4K because I'm a fucking idiot. And it was shot really well, but I really have no interest in ever watching this again. Maybe since it did so well, they're going to do a sequel and then maybe rewatch it before the sequel comes out. But overall, my grade is a meh.
Well, this is the part where I love to disappoint Otto. So, I think the cinematography was great for it. being that I have, a lot of friends out in Chicago, so like some of the scenes that actually were there, it's actually nice knowing that something is set somewhere and actually you can have visual direction to saying that, okay, this is authentically there, not just saying, yeah, we're here, but shot somewhere else. Um, I like the idea that it was going more with the lore of Candyman, because in the original, it like, I think through what's the lady's name, Helen, like they went more through her trying to like deep dive into what's going on with the bonfire. So but this kind of deep dived into like the whole lore and went kind of beyond her research to it. um Knowing that it's not just one man that is Candyman, it's in a whole atrocity behind the character. Um, it's of course I love Tiana Paris, and whatever she does, I'm there for it. But um, I think because of the lore, I think because I didn't really have high expectations for it, I'm actually going to give it a low dope, only because I enjoyed it. Like it could be an instant forgettable movie, but for the time that I was there, like I enjoyed it. And also a huge shout out to the film director. I think she did a nice job, and I hope she keeps going with more projects.
This movie, it threw me for a loop. Went into it thinking we're gonna see his name. You're just gonna see him, and some kills, some horror, some gore, some blood, and it was more about the story. And they kind of expounded and retconned and remixed and rebooted the him story. I won't say his name. Not gonna get me, in the camera and the reflection in the mirror. But it was an interesting movie. I think it was very heavy-handed with the Black Lives Matter narrative, with the say his name, say their name, killing the white people, the cops, and how the cops were killing the black people. It was. I seen where they were going, and I was like, I see how you guys threw that in there. Very sneaky, very sneaky. I don't know if everybody picked up on the cops, being cops in Chicago and killing black people and Candyman killing the white people, which was a good flip of most horror movies, because in most horror movies the black people die first and get out. So Candyman was kind of like getting some payback for that. So I was with that part, but overall it was an interesting story. I think it was shot well. It was great acting, very well directed. I think the story that they ended up telling in the end, I was like, it didn't really go together. It didn't go well, because they were trying to throw in that whole cop narrative and thing when she was at the police and stuff. And I was like, yeah, this wasn't the place to really put that narrative in there. So I'm gonna go with a low dope. It was borderline mad, but I'm gonna go with dope, 'cause like I said, other than the way that the story kind of wrapped up, I was with it. You know what I'm saying? Liked everybody, liked the acting. It was an interesting way to tell the story through the paintings, and even with the mirror imaging, which even started with the credit, the opening credits and stuff. Not the credits, but like the production tags was all in reverse. So I think it was, it was very, it was interesting in the beginning, and the story was being told, but then I think that last act was kind of what lost me on it altogether. So going low dope, and I don't know if it's forgettable, but it's probably something I won't watch often though. So, but yeah, did you guys pick up on that whole say their name? Cops are evil.
Yeah, motherfucker. What kind of question is that?
I just you didn't mention
message,
it.
The message.
You guys didn't mention it, so I didn't know.
Well, I'm not allowed to mention it. I can't talk shit about. I can't say anything. I got to be very careful with what I say. But the message was very heavy-handed. Like fucking Jordan Peele didn't direct it. They used his name to fucking sell the shit, whatever. But he did co-write it. It was 3 writers, and he was one of them. And that ending it felt like, all right, he's doing Get Out again. Like, we get it. White cops are bad.
And that's why it felt like it was that the finale was a different movie from what we were already watching before, and that's what it felt a little disjointed. That's what kind of got me. I was just like,
I'm all for killing cops and killing white people in this cinematic universe, but I felt like we could have just got to it in a better place. Watch it get clipped out of context.
I will edit that the right way. Yes, yes.
She was not. She was not. She was not going to go to jail and deal with some crooked ass COs.
Mhm. Wow.
That's rude. I beat everybody of every color with my
Equally,
baton.
that's fair.
Everyone
fair.
gets hit with the baton. Everybody.
Here we go. Here we go. But I think we all do agree the directing, the acting, production. I think we all agree on
Jared
that.
had a good call out. I had to look it up because I didn't know her name offhand.
Yeah.
Tiana Paris or whatever.
Mhm.
She did a great job too. She's also going to be in the Marvels,
Which is being directed
the next
by-
movie that she's directing. Yeah.
Full time. You know, she was in WandaVision.
She was dope. I was like, where the fuck do I know her from? And then yeah, I was like, oh yeah, duh.
WandaVision.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she was awesome. She did a great job. Like when she probably had the funniest line in the movie when she opened the door to the basement. She was like, nope.
And his mom, when he was talking to his mom, and she was saying, "What? Nope, Nick, don't say that name."
So the thing with the mom, which is not her fault, because I believe she's in her 50s or 60s or something. She looked younger than him.
Vanessa
Black
Williams.
Don't Crack. She looked amazing.
She
I was like, who the fuck is this? And he's like, Mom. I'm like, what? Where?
Vanessa.
Like that was like.
That's not her fault.
Like, don't be a menace. Like, remember, don't be a menace.
Yeah, his dad.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, she she looked way too young to be his mom.
She was the mom in the first one too, from what I remember what I saw. So she's aged fucking amazing.
Oh, okay. I haven't watched, and I wanted to go back and rewatch before, and I didn't get a chance to. I probably will, But yeah, I didn't catch that. I didn't pick up on that. But yeah, it was. Yeah, I guess I like that they, brought up the, it didn't seem. Well, let me ask you guys: did you guys feel like the exposition in the beginning was a little too much, or did it flow well when it was like, oh,
because when the movie started, I was like, all right, cool. They're setting it up. They're telling the tale. To your point, with the little fucking
the puppets,
not figures, the puppets or whatever the fuck. That shit was cool. I was like, all right, this thing has its own visual style, blah. Maybe they went to that one too many times because they kept going to it to show things. But it was cool, man. I'm all for it. I thought it was
different. And that's why I thought it was a different way to tell the story. It didn't just seem like, oh, you don't know the story of Kent? Well, because they started with, even when her brother was telling them the scary story, but then they still went to that, and I was like, okay, at least it's visual still. It's not just them sitting there having this random conversation, which they was, but at least we're getting a visual. So I was like, okay, it's an interesting way. And then him with his art and telling, so the way they were telling the story of the movie and stuff through his art and through that art was like, okay, this is a different way to do some storytelling within, a movie. But like I said, that third act is where, it just kind of went off the rails, and then, find out, oh, he was the baby, and okay, all right, all right.
Yeah.
And when it was like, they were like, "Oh, you were born here." He was like, "No, I wasn't." And she's like, "Yeah, you were." And I'm like,
that was
right,
we knew then. Yeah, we knew then. So it was like, okay, so she's been lying to you, but you never once checked your medical history. Like, it took
one kind of weird ass doctor would be like, "Hey, welcome back." Like,
right, you know me.
Right.
After all these years, right? Right. But look how young his mom looks. That doctor. Yeah. That doctor was the same doctor. I was the delivering doctor. Yeah, that was me. Good to see how you grown. It took you long enough to come with that hand. Like his hand was getting worse and worse, and he just like, whatever.
Yeah, and it was like aggressive, like.
See, like even that was cool because like only he saw that image. Like nobody else was seeing that. Eventually, his body started to eventually, like in the third act, that's when his body really started to form over. The whole thing before is like, after that beast thing, he was the only person to visualize and see like what was going on because he had the whole image, but nobody else was starting to see it until the end. So I think it was cool that like people just thought he was weird after a while.
Exactly. He was just like staring at shit like a weirdo. Or like when he got off the elevator, everyone was like, "What the fuck happened to that guy?" When he had dropped his shit. Right. I read somebody wrote that they looked at it as like a superhero movie instead of like a horror movie, and it was the origin of Candyman as a superhero.
I could see the
who would
origin.
Just kill all the white people, all the bad white cops, yada yada yada.
Yeah, I could see
if they
why
turn this into like
that.
a franchise or whatever, since it did well, like and the legacy of having the dude from the first one, and she used Candyman at the end. She called his name to save her life because I mean, maybe she didn't know it was gonna happen, but
I could see that.
Well,
I could see that.
I think that last part is served dual purposes. I think it's not just to save her life, but also to keep because even the thing like her dad, like she has this thing where she has messed up men in her life, men who have been artists and going up the deep end, and she's kind of attempted to that. So it's not just save her life, but also to keep her man or his essence alive. So it's just keep it going.
Yeah. I mean,
how do we feel about the original OG Candyman showing up at the end for that little brief second with the de-aging?
He could have shown up old as hell.
Yeah.
He could have shown up.
I didn't know if he was alive or dead in real life, but he's still alive. So he definitely shot that, and they did the little special effects. I thought it was a cool nod. Again, none of us watched the old ones before as a refresher, but I'm sure we all saw it at some point back in the day.
Yeah.
So it was cool. It was a good touch.
I mean, I definitely like the fact they popped him in there. I love anytime I do a little homage to certain characters, especially him, because that's me growing up. Like I love horror, but you didn't have predominantly any real African American or dark skin or even Latino like fucking horror main stars. So Candyman, I remember being one as a kid. I remember one of the first movies I ever saw in the movie theaters as a kid was Candyman Farewell to the Flesh, which is part 2, and that was like I was like 8
How
or 9
old are you,
years old.
John? Yeah, like who took you to the theater to see that, John? That's not for kids.
My amazing Puerto Rican father.
Oh, all right, that makes sense.
He took me to see that in the theater. I remember seeing that. That movie was crazy, but I've always had a love for Tony Todd because of that. Plus that dark, mysterious voice from other movies that he's done.
Yeah.
So him doing a little cameo, I think that was dope. I definitely enjoyed that part. I just, like I said, I wish it was more a horror movie. Like, I don't know. It just
it wasn't
I went in
horror
there
at
for
all.
a horror movie kind of feel.
And as I said too, like I went in there thinking one thing, and it just went. It was more about the story and the narrative more than being like a horror type flick, or it wasn't just like hack and slash, or it was just like we're telling a story here using the Candyman lore to give you this vision of Chicago, and it was like okay, it's art. He's an artist, but it was art. It was a form of art.
Candyman, it kind of seemed like it was like Candyman versus gentrification. Like
right. It was like I said, they had a heavy story narrative they wanted to get across, and they just was like, we could use this character to, kind of like how some people say Joker, they used it for like mental health to tell that, now. So this was kind of like, okay, we're gonna get these real human stories out by using characters you might know over here. Maybe that'll get you to listen to this, this problem in life. Maybe.
I'm curious as to what the budget was, because it was shot well, it looked good. To Jared's point, it was shot on location. But it was number one. It made 22 million.
Because didn't it have a message at the end? Didn't it say something about at the end of the movie they had like a?
I think I'm gonna sit through the fucking credits for Candyman.
No, not through the credits. Before the credits started, it had like a I think it was like I forgot what it had like a message on.
All cops are bad. That was the boom, blood everywhere.
It had like some words. I just don't remember what it said, but I think they put that in there, and I was just like, okay. And then they had the little puppet show again at the end, and I was like, okay, I got it. Like, I got it, guys. I got it.
At first, I ain't gonna front. Like when the thing first start, I was like 5 seconds away from getting up, but like, yo,
why is it backwards?
I think the thing's in backward. Like the screen. I might want to check the screen. Like I had no idea what the hell was going on at first.
Otto, the budget was $25 million.
All right, so there you go. So it almost made back his budget in his first weekend, and it's gonna kill on digital eventually when it releases. And I don't know if it open worldwide yet, but yeah, cool, man. Good shit. Good for her. And we'll see what happens next if it's gonna be a franchise. John says no. BJ, if they announce a sequel, we're gonna go watch it. So why are you shaking your head? And we already confirmed that we're both buying the 4K collector's edition. So what are you shaking your head? What are you gonna do?
I already bought that. I already pre-ordered the Candyman Funko Pop. Yeah, it's what it is. But it's just I'm disappointed. I was waiting for a while. When I first saw the trailer, I was like, oh yes. Then like the whole production, like I was hyped. The way they filmed it, the trailer's very art style. It's like the artsy, like it's done really well. Like, oh, it's gonna be one of those real horror movies, but it's gonna have a story to it, like, because horror gets a lot of bad rap for just being bullshit, slasher, and gore. So I was like, oh, it's gonna be. And then when the movie, like, it had a message, but it was kind of like forced, kind of like forced down your throat. And then even the way, like his systematic way he killed, like it was like, all right, well, he's killing a bunch of white people, which is all right. Like, there's a million movies where black people getting killed, so in horror movies, so I have no problem with that.
We got one.
Like, what's the point behind it? Where it's like,
Right.
you know, like I get the girls were bullying the girl in school. All right,
Now there's a
bullying
monster behind you slamming the window. Be careful. I don't know if it's Candyman.
but he always, bro, 24/7 he chooses violence.
Good.
But yeah, fucking. But then like I'm like, but like the first people, they weren't really. They were a little bougie, but they were the one who ran the art gallery. They didn't do nothing wrong. They didn't bully anybody.
Them.
It's Candyman. He didn't
So
care about right or wrong.
The method, like
they were white.
Kill anyone who says Candyman? Was it like you get spared? But so as long as you're white, just kill anyone who says Candyman?
No, it was that plus dude did had an attitude towards homie after. Like, it was like, what the fuck was this bullshit ass piece? So he was like, oh, word? I'm bullshit? I got you.
Say less.
So as soon as he came out,
so you criticize somebody and Candyman's killing you.
Right. If you're light skinned, if you're light skinned or white, on site. Yeah.
Like Michael made sense, Jason made sense, Candyman makes no sense.
But also like old school horror films, they were about to have sex and then they die. That's what happens.
That's good. That's a good. Yeah, that's a good call out. That's
you know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah. So what about the second kill with the journalist girl?
She probably said it in the mirror.
She was asking too many questions. She was asking too many questions.
She was judging him. She was judging him. She
didn't like his work until it got bloody.
She might have been setting him up. She might have thought he killed them and was trying to get information and was trying to, you know what I'm saying? Couldn't trust her. Can't trust her.
So
why you call me here?
And I'm mistaken, wasn't it? In the old one, you said Candyman 3 times. Now you say it 5 times. Am I right? The old one was 3 times, wasn't it?
I thought it was always 5.
I feel like it used to be 3, but we
must
be remembering it wrong.
Yeah.
We must be remembering it wrong because they wouldn't just change it and add another 2.
Right. I thought it was 5.
When she did it at the end in the cop car, I could have sworn she only said it 4 times, and I'm like, all right,
I thought she said it 4 times also.
I'm not fucking crazy, right? I thought it was.
Oh, you guys were counting,
and then this nigga just showed up. Yeah,
you guys were counting. I was looking around. I wasn't counting. I was like, hey, shut up, bitch. Like,
I was like, all right, I said it 4 times, and then he started appearing. I was like, oh, he came out early, and then she didn't say it the 5th time. So I was like, maybe that's why he didn't kill her. But I don't know.
Me and Benny did it in the bathroom. We did the thing that second 5 times, and neither one of us are dead. And I think that's because he's scared of Benny. That's my opinion.
That makes sense. Did Benny have his braids at the time? Because
actually, my son Benny.
Oh, okay.
His son.
My bad. I forget. I called, your son is white. His name is Ben. He will never be called Benny by anyone.
Benjamin.
Right. You say
Benjamin.
That is Benjamin. So you
guys are all racist, and I call him Benny all the time.
We enjoyed the art and the direction of it. Do we think this style will kind of carry over to her next movie, The Marvels? Do we look forward to The Marvels kind of having an artistic feel to it, or you think any of this will?
I mean, Captain Marvel Part 1 was a piece of shit, so anything that she makes is going to be an improvement on that garbage. So, but I think visually, of course, it'll look better. But Marvel also has their like little fucking bullshit, make everything CG and filter and lifeless thing. So I mean, we'll see. But I'm excited.
Well, that would fit in though, because everything in this was CG. Like the bees when they flew over looked terrible. Like it looked like you could tell the budget wasn't high for the CG part of it because it was like even when she got thrown against the.
What do you want, real bees, bro? What do you want, real fucking bees? It's not the 90s, bro. What are you gonna do? Where are you gonna find bees in Chicago? Get the fuck out of here, bro.
Remember the bees? Remember the beekeeper in Wanda? No,
Mephisto versus Candyman. Let's go.
There you go. It's part of the MCU canon. It just happened. What were you gonna say, Jared?
I was gonna say if her niche is telling story, then I think that'll be a good thing for the Marvels because you're adding in more characters. You know, you're because we know full time basically because of how WandaVision came out. But for those who didn't see WandaVision, you want to have a little bit of a maybe not so much a soft reset, but you're going to have an introduction to her character, more character development. So you're going to have some backstory and some story going on for that. So I think if her niche is storytelling, then it's going to show well in that movie.
So what you're saying is they're gonna have little puppets for how she went through the bubble into the hex. They're gonna say one day Monica Rambeau walked into a hex and she came out on the other side with powers and glowing eyeballs.
Well, she said Scarlet Witch 5 times.
Oh,
that makes sense.
See, it's all connected. It's all connected.
I actually don't know what you guys are talking about. When it comes to the Marvels thing, I have no clue what you're talking about.
She's directing it. The director
Captain Marvel Part 2.
Yeah, the director of Candyman is directing the Marvels, which is Captain Marvel Part 2, but it's going to feature Miss Marvel, Monica Rambeau, which we don't, it's going to be Photon or
Yeah.
Spectrum, but Monica Rambeau, so it's going to be a bunch of Captain Marvel ladies, and she's directing that movie too. So I was asking, do we think this artistic way she did this film will carry over to that one, and maybe, we'll see a little more of her imprint on that movie in the Marvel Cinematic
You think
Universe.
you think Kevin and the Mouse will let that happen?
Well, I mean, they hired people, based on their, because the Eternals was directed by the Academy Award-winning director, and they wanted that
Chloe.
epic style feel, Chloe Zhao. So it seems like they get directors based on their specialties. You know what I'm saying? When they got the Russos, it was because they were, even what's his name, for the first original Avengers, they were good with ensemble casts. And, the Russo brothers was good with an ensemble, and they got them in for that. And then James Gunn was good with that comedic style, and Taika Waititi. So it feels like they get directors
Ryan
and
Coogler.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So they get directors and let them put a little bit of their thumb on it, even though the story ends connecting the universe, but it's the movie itself still has that feel of that director. So far that's what it seems. So
The only thing I was really thinking about though too with the movie is that had this been like a Black Widow or like a Fast and Furious, something like that, like if it would have came out with the streaming services and movie theaters, I do think this would have bombed terribly. Like terribly. Like those movies still made money. I don't think this would make anywhere near what it made. It would have been sit through launch, which is which kind of speaks to like the films, because the big ones we get, like the big films being put onto like the digital service right away. I kind of get the pull money grab for that, but the small films like that they try to do, I don't know how it's gonna work out.
Well, that's why all of the companies at CinemaCon said we are committed to the theaters. But now that's with
deal,
the only
baby.
with the 45-day window it was, or 60 days? 45 days. So we're committed to you guys, but on a shorter time span.
I mean,
but
that's still good though, because as a movie buff, like
is.
I don't want to wait 45 days to watch it at home. Like that makes me go to the theater.
And that's why it makes sense. Like for us, the Marvel movies and certain movies, our genres we like, we're going day one anyway. That first weekend is us, and then we'll either see it again or word of mouth will,
Like, I mean, I was young at the time, but I regret never seeing like Gladiator in the theater. Like a movie like that, there's movies you have to see in the theater, like the Marvel movies, Doom, like that movie. If you don't see it in the theater, like you're gonna lose. Like it's just so much behind it. There's a lot of movies you put to see in the theaters. I get that. Smaller movies, I make more sense to actually go streaming versus movie theater production. But fuck, do I know?
but
we agree.
Yeah, you and so far a lot of them agree as well. That's why there's they figured, okay, we have to put some of these movies, one, money wise, they still have some commitments to that to those first week's box office sales, to some of the actors and production, but also some of the directors, even Christopher Nolan was saying this last year, like, yo, I made this movie for the big screen with the big speakers. Even though you still can't hear the voice, the dialogue, but but it's made to be loud and 100-foot screen, and this is how it's supposed to be. So most people are making it, and they're like, yeah, this is this has to be seen that way. So that's and those are the movies that we want to see in the theater. Storytelling movies, put that on the streaming service. I'll check it out when I can. But those big blockbusters, that's the ones and like I said, people like us, we're going day one. We at least the first weekend, and then our word of mouth is what carries it over the next weekend, or
Like to me, the next big one is Dune. Like I think that cinematographer, the way they did it, it looks like it's gonna be fucking beautiful.
It's definitely Shang-Chi.
I was about to say, are you not going to see Shang-Chi this week?
No, I don't have any plans to it.
I told you this shit's gonna bomb. I fucking told you.
hey, John, can you read this word for me real quick? Say it about 5 times. I'm gonna put a word in the screen. I want you to say 5 times.
So like I didn't have plans. So I was gonna hit up Otto and I go, "Are you going?" But I mean, I work Thursday anyway. He goes Thursdays.
Yeah.
But I'm not. Even though I was off, I wasn't like, oh god.
I mean, it's gonna be at home too, I think, right? Or they said no on Shang-Chi. Oh no, Shang-Chi's that's a mandatory theater. Oh shit.
So it's something I'll catch on one of my days off sometime next week. But it's gonna be. This is probably the first Marvel movie that I'm not seeing first day or first weekend.
I wonder why.
Word, John, what's going on, man?
Asian hate, John.
Stop Asian hate.
Stop the Asian hate, bro.
There's no. I don't see any hype behind it. I watched the trailer. This is one of the characters that I honestly didn't know much about anyway.
There are
But it doesn't-
abominations in the film, and you
But
like the
even-
Incredible Hulk.
There's
I
been
know,
mad
I'm
hype for this
hoping that
movie. What
there's
are you talking about? There's crazy hype
What?
for this movie.
I disagree.
There's
with
hype
that.
everywhere. Now, there's a lot of hype
No,
for this
not.
movie.
Where?
I've seen a lot on Twitter and all
Where?
online. There's a lot of hype
Yeah,
for
but
this
you
movie.
understand. But you understand. You cater that bubble. Like when you and I follow shit. they
No,
keep sending us
I don't
more of
even
the same shit.
follow. It's people that send me stuff. I don't follow it. It's
Well,
been a lot of hype for this.
I got mad.
You got a lot
I
of
got
Asian
mad
friends, I
that are-
guess.
I got mad
I
friends,
might.
Marvel friends. That
I might.
that asking, like my
Unlike
Marvel
John,
friends
I
are
do.
asking me.
Wait,
My
hold
friends are
on,
Marvel
hold
fans
on.
that
I
ask,
just
like, yo,
realized
are you
there's
gonna
an
go see it? I'm
agenda
like, yeah.
here. Sorry,
I'm
John. I
not.
just realized there's an agenda. I do believe Mr. Paul works for Asians. Is that what's going on here?
Not anymore.
That's
Oh,
who
okay,
gave him-
okay.
That's who
My
gave him
bad,
that
my bad. I thought that was the agenda. I thought, you know. I see. Okay.
Not
That was the
anymore.
payoff.
I am a free agent.
You heard Otto? That was the
Yeah, he got the
That
payoff.
word
He got the
cooler
payoff.
behind him, that's the payoff.
Listen,
He still left in the office.
I am looking
So-
forward to this movie because of where it fits into the story. I want to see where it goes. But even the reviews for it have been all great. Like
What part of New Jersey are you going to see this film, sir?
we're taking a ride to Hackensack because
Jesus
for
Christ.
reasons. It's not that far. It's minutes. It's minutes. It's just a toll. It's just a little extra couple $, but it's worth
Wait,
it.
I'm
You know what
lost. Why are you going to Hackensack? What am I missing?
Not allowed to watch movies in New York City.
You know
we
what I'm
cut
saying?
them off.
Yeah,
Get out of here.
I thought you
I'm
still wear
shunned.
mad.
No, but you got to
Nah,
go. Well,
September
there-
is en vivo.
Yeah, certain places already putting the crack down on like, yo, let me see your papers. Let me see your papers.
Spread your
Put the
cheeks
mask
with your
on. Right, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, so it's like, yeah, now I'll go over there and give my money. It's all good. They don't know. How do you treat it?
You paying toll though? You paying toll?
Absolutely.
No, I got it.
Damn.
But I'm an ANC stockholder, so it's like, I just how y'all want to treat me. Like I gotta, you know what I'm saying?
That's fucked up,
You know what I'm saying? But this, my voice will be
So
heard.
you
I'm
really
going
not going to
there.
say the name
Huh?
of the movie we're talking about?
What?
You really not going to say the name?
Candyman, Candyman,
Yeah, that guy.
Candyman.
Whoa, whoa,
Five
whoa,
times,
whoa.
bitch. What?
Candyman.
Whoa. We do not do that here.
But that was in the mirror. That was in
What
the
about
camera.
saying Candyman?
It's reflected. It's a reflection. I don't.
What about saying Candyman?
See, hey, my man. All right, so that seems like the wrap up for this episode.
No, Jared's dead. Oh,
see,
fuck.
see, we got to wrap this episode up because things is getting out of control right now.
Candyman ain't doing nothing.
All righty. That's another
So-
episode of Grade Pending. We will be back for Shang-Chi whenever, if John don't see it, he
Three of
won't
us.
be on the episode.
John's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
about that life.
Other people will be, but look, see, now you playing games. That's the episode. Comment below.
Somehow Paul's electricity's getting fucked up. This is
I didn't
wild,
say
bro.
it.
I don't know what kind of fucking
I didn't say it. I'm good. I'm black.
adios.
Later, y'all.
According to the lights in your
Fuck,
house right
you're
now.
right.
According to the lights in the house, me and Otto are safe.
John will be
I told
first.
you,
Later, guys.
Later.